All right, now the V2 Green system that I mentioned earlier provides communication of vehicle data to a remote computer system. This communication enables the flow of electricity between the grid and the vehicle to be monitored along with other vehicle performance data. Now, John will also go into this a bit more detail later on, but it's really neat. What you can do is you can monitor the watt hours per mile that you get, so you can see how efficient you're being. It's just another measurement of our miles per kilowatt hour. You can see mile per gallon, the distance, temperatures, pretty much anything that you could possibly think of, seemingly, that you might want to know about trip is included in this report. Now, the V2 Green system uses two basic components. There's the V2 Green connectivity module, the VCM, and that records and transmits data to the V2 Green system and to the PHEV in-vehicle computers for data acquisition, and it includes a little GPS system too, which we found out to be really neat because once you log on to their website, and we'll give you that information later, you can actually see where Dr. Patten's going, like all the time. Now, the cellular data modem communicates with the V2 Green and GreePoint servers. Now, data about the vehicle's trip, information such as gas consumption, electricity consumption, mile per gallon, watt hour or watts per mile, distance, and that's basically what I touched on just a little earlier. But you can sort through all of this data, and if it gets to be too big, well, then you can remove some of it, and if you want to see more of it, well, then you can simply add it. It's fairly customizable. At the V2 Green System website, you can learn about how the system works and interacts with the power grid, and we've listed there the website. And you may also log on to the WMU V2 Green account and check out our Prius's data. And so the website is simply mycar.v2green.com, and there's your username, which is case sensitive, so make note of that if you're interested. And the password is PHEV/1. Now, our research results. Our research began 9-ish months ago or so, in December, and we expect to do at least 1 year's worth of research. I would honestly like to see our winter data through again, because we found several different ways that are more efficient at tracking data in the winter that we simply didn't know about to begin with, such as how short trips were adversely affecting our mile per kilowatt hour. And then again, long trips we were finding affected it as well, because of the way the Prius's computer system kind of reports the data. I mean, we're kind of at the, we were a while at the mercy of what the computer told us, and it wasn't always as accurate as we initially thought that it was. We're looking at two main categories when evaluating the PHEV and the wind turbine. The first category is did the wind turbine provide enough electricity for all of the driving done while charging at WMU. And that's just, you get up in the morning and you come to the university, and then it charges while here, and then when you go back home, drive home, and you recharge it. And so it's a pretty simple work day. If you live more than 20 to 30 miles out, though, you'll probably run out of juice, and you'll need to recharge. However, on your way in, like let's say for example, you used 4 kilowatt hours on your way in. Well, the battery pack has a 5 kilowatt hour capacity, and you charge it roughly 1 kilowatt hour an hour. So you come in at 8 o'clock, you use 4 kilowatt hours, and you plug it in, and then by noon, 4 hours later, you should be fully charged again. And so you go out driving around for lunch, and you come back, and so long as you didn't completely deplete the battery, you should be good to go again before you go back home. So you really would not have used any gas at all that day. And the second category is very similar, except instead of just including work, we're including all the various travels done, to the grocery store, to the bank, business trips, everything inclusive. And so far, while charging at WMU, the wind turbine has supplied more than enough electricity to charge the PHEV. And you'll see that in just a second. Overall, we're showing a surplus of electricity generated, used to charge the PHEV over the course of the research project. Now, here's the small chart. You kind of have to picture this as two charts in one. Off to the left, you'll see, off to the left here, you'll see this is the WMU miles traveled, and those are the bars representing his trips to WMU. So in total, through August, the wind turbine had generated 1,132 kilowatt hours of power. Well, through last December, going into work, John has used 285 kilowatt hours. So the surplus of what he's generated is 847, which is a sizable surplus. Now, everything inclusive, the total over there on the right, now the wind turbine still only generated 1,132 kilowatt hours, but he's used 891, and he's still producing less, but still a surplus nonetheless. This right here is our chart explaining how temperature affects your mile per gallon. And this is a bit of what I was talking about earlier. So right over here would be kind of in the dead of winter, January, December, February maybe. And as it gets warmer out, you can kind of see how it starts to rise up and kind of crests above 100, and then kind of starts to fall back down just a little bit. However, we're not too terribly sure how accurate those final points are, only because the others are weighted so much heavier, and everything in kind of the 80-degree range isn't weighted nearly as much. So days in which you may have traveled and gotten a lower mile per gallon are going to be shown much more apparently. All right, and this is our chart showing the temperature and its effect on your miles per kilowatt hour. Now, just like in the winter, you're going to start out kind of low, and then you kind of crest upwards a bit. Now, 8 is the theoretical maximum that we had thought of, and we had some days in which we've gotten 8 miles per kilowatt hour, but it's simply not that common. It's a maximum, so it's possible. You know, the math works out, but it's not something that we see very often, and it's not really something that we expect to see all the time. But our average for the time being is 4.4 miles per kilowatt hour. Now, a few people that we'd like to thank here. Dan Broomer over here has been a big help in kind of organizing everything from the meters to getting various instruments installed, our shark meter, which you'll hear about later on. I don't know if Greg is here, one of our webmasters, and he's going to play a big part in this. Carlos Coggers has been a big help as well.